This is the Astrology and Tarot Show with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. Here is your psychic astrology for the week starting February 23. Your tarot can be decoded at jessicaadams.com. Aries, the Ace of Cups. Taurus, the Star. Gemini, the Ace of Swords. Cancer, the King of Cups. Leo, the Ten of Pentacles. Virgo, the Lovers. Libra, the Ten of Wands. Scorpio, the Empress. Sagittarius, the Ace of Pentacles. Capricorn, the Two of Wands. Aquarius, the Two of Swords, and Pisces, the Ace of Wands. Now, if you have the Sun in Pisces, you are well known for your alternative realities, be they religious, spiritual, Buddhist, psychic, based on dreams, the subconscious mind. Maybe it's about therapy or something more. But if you are a Pisces, you can now see who you are, where you have landed, and how to update. The reality with a capital R is back in your life. Aries, 2 endings with your inner life and 1 slow final chapter with your inner life now rule the year. When I say inner life, I mean your dreams, your psychic, your therapy, counseling, tarot, religion, and so on, maybe meditation. This is all about the Pisces transits in the 12th house of your solar chart. And if you happen to have anything in Pisces in your birth chart, you can double that message. Around July 26, you'll see the final end of this triple cycle, which stopped in 2 stages, near January 26 and also February 14. So being alone now is a different matter. For many years, with Neptune in Pisces, you may have been floundering, all at sea, or without an anchor, every time you tried to do anything by yourself without other people that pertain to your soul, your spirit, or your psyche. Well, you're now back on terra firma again, and that's a good thing. You have also definitely done away with a long period of waiting, Aries, as Saturn has also moved out of this zone of your chart. So for lots of you, it has meant a change in, for example, using a particular tarot deck, or maybe an approach to something like yoga. Maybe it's been about counselling for you or keeping a diary. Your sleep may have been the story. However you've been affected by it, Aries, this week is all about settling down into a different way of handling your inner life and understanding that the way things were over the last 2 years is not the way they are now. You no longer have to do what you've been doing just to get through. So if you feel that it is really a new year that's just started on the inside, you're absolutely right. Taurus, siblings, neighbours or cousins are all where the new hope in your life is, and it's natural zodiac law. Jupiter in Cancer in your solar 3rd house brings opportunities and solutions with or for your brother, sister, cousin, people next door or across the border. Now, when it comes to siblings, cousins and or neighbours, you have until June 30 to take the big option or solution. You may already have done that last year, but there is another opportunity or answer staring you in the face. This may be about a half-sibling in some cases, and the neighbour may be literally next door or just across the map. Taurus, Jupiter is the planet that we call Optimus Maximus, based on the way the Romans saw it. In fact, this cycle is also known in Asia, and it's very much to do with luck, capital L, but also just naturally good timing. Right time, right place, right situation, and it's up to you to really make this happen, as it won't be there forever, Taurus. It will be until June 30 with Jupiter on your side, but this cycle moves in 12 years, and consequently, you really have to grab it as it's there. Whatever you planted 12 years ago, perhaps with a brother or sister, is now growing. So if you planted an acorn, so to speak, it is now becoming an oak tree. And that's something else that Jupiter rules, the acorn that becomes the valuable oak. Gemini, Jupiter in Cancer in your solar 2nd house of money is here to fulfill you, redeem you or them, and give you growth, hope and plenty by saving or making money. And lots of you have already seen evidence of that. It may have been for you something that was worth numbers on paper, but no money actually changed hands. In other cases, you have found a lucrative avenue towards more. There will be more too, as this cycle runs until June 30. But the trick with Jupiter is that you have to take it while it's there. If you assume that things are going to go on forever and that you can come back to this later, you would be wrong astrologically, as from July and August, Jupiter is in a brand new sign. If you have anything in Cancer in your birth chart, which is quite common for Gemini people because it's the next sign along, then I should have already thought that the benefit to you was through a house, an apartment, or a block of land, or a real estate investment. And yet this could also be the gift that goes on giving, because if you do have Cancer factors, again, you have until June 30 to snap something up. There is very much the optimist in you still about what you can do, and you deserve a break, Gemini, as you have only just really started to come out of the long-running Pluto and Capricorn cycle, which was so intense for your finances or property since the year 2008. So treat this as your reward for having come through it and use what's staring you in the face by the end of June. Cancer. Try to trust in the fact that the point at which you appear to be expanding with your image or your name is the point at which something new is also going to pave the path to the future. Jupiter in Cancer, your own sign, is a 12-year cycle that picks up on what you did 12 years ago and takes it further, but also allows you to plant acorns for the future now, so that in 12 years' time, you can come and pick up what has been growing for you. The first house is very much about the exterior, and I often talk about it on this podcast because so many of you have factors in Aries as well, which is much the same thing. If you are one of those Aries-heavy Cancerians, then 2026 is a relaunch like no other. Whatever your personal birth chart looks like, you have until the end of June to take advantage of good timing, being in the right time at the right place, surrounded by the right people, maybe with the right technology, or there could be another turn up for the books in terms of the way that you physically look or appear. Understanding that luck is there to be used is half the battle with this cycle, and having already seen something get better and bigger for you since last year, there is now another big hope on the horizon. Leo. Saturn in Aries is with you, and there is a waiting game involving foreigners or foreign countries. It is not the only planet in your chart at the moment. In the 9th house, you also have Chiron and Neptune in Aries too. So we could say that it's complicated when it comes to people from another country, another culture, or your own plans to travel, export, or even emigrate. Managing this triple cycle is almost like splitting yourself into 3 people just to deal with it. One of you will need to be patient and stoic. Another will be a bit of an escape artist. And the third version of you will be the great experimenter. The 9th house in the olden days of astrology used to be Captain Cook and Christopher Columbus and Margaret Mead. Today, the 9th house is, of course, the World Wide Web or foreign people in your town. Leo, this triple cycle will gather speed in April when it looks like you will sign off on a major decision. At the moment, what you are doing is prepping for that, as your rule of the sun will also be in the 9th house, the Captain Cook and Christopher Columbus and Margaret Mead house, around Easter. At the moment, you are looking at what other people say is impossible, unthinkable, out of the question, but part of you thinks, well, why not? Virgo. It would help to seek out other Virgos online or in the real world and compare notes, because nobody understands what's going on financially or with real estate the way another Virgo does. Maybe a Pisces, but in essence, you are going through a cycle that is pretty rare. The reality that you're dealing with is really real with a capital R, because it won't be until the first quarter of 2028 that a waiting game, a test of patience, a ring-fenced situation will stop. And yet, along with the restrictions, which are pretty recent, you are also being shown an alternative, an escape from the real world, or a holiday from the everyday, a vacation from reality. Understanding that these two things may go together is half the battle. You're also being asked to look at the way that you have been experimenting with money, real estate, business, charity over the last 2 years. And as Chiron will pass out of this zone of your chart soon enough, understanding that sometimes the experiments do have to be over. Libra, the duet in your life now has restrictions from Saturn, an escape from reality with Neptune, and an experiment with Chiron. That is quite a lot to hang on one partner of any sort, and there may be more than one partner actually carrying this cycle for you. So, for example, your wife and your work partner. This duet can be of any kind at all, though. It may be a friend that you share the house with. If all three cycles that are going on now are with one person, you will need a threefold strategy. Take your time as you figure out the next step, as it looks very much as though around Easter there will be a sign-off decision for you. By May, you will have crossed that bridge with this person. A partner of any sort now, if you stay on the road with them, will give you a ring-fence situation, as I've mentioned, until 2028. So you need to have a strategy for that. You need to understand that a test of patience can be handled in a number of different ways, and asking around or seeking expertise could be one way for you to handle this, Libra. The scales in your life are changing. The person on the other end of the scales may be in a different situation, or you would just be dealing with a different person. But balancing the scales this week is what it's all about. Scorpio. Really, you should treat each new Saturn cycle in Aries in your 6th house as an assignment with health on the label, maybe fitness. So roll up your sleeves again this week and get to work on the mind, body, and spirit. The 6th house of your chart is about your mental health and also your physical health. It's also about anything from the dentist to a naturopath to using a new weight loss regime. It really depends on your personal birth chart as to how it's affecting you. If you have anything in Virgo, Scorpio, then there is a situation here which will go round in circles for you until the final week of July. Whatever your birth chart looks like, though, you are now in a position to figure out your strategy and get real about what will take a long time to sort out. This is really down to the Saturn cycle that I've been discussing, as it is with you until the first quarter of 2028, and it is notorious for limiting your options. So you almost have to wait until it's over to feel that you have the full release when it comes to your health and fitness anyway. Until then, you also have an escape from all of this, and that escape could be anything at all. The only ground rules really with this transit, which is Neptune also in Aries, is that the escape is something that doesn't take both feet off the ground too long or too often. You still need to be grounded about what you're doing to go into a different world. Sagittarius. You're being asked to be a realist about your health on all levels because the revolution continues. What's happening at the moment, and has been happening to you since 2018, is a cycle called Uranus in Taurus, going through your 6th house of lifestyle, well-being, daily routine, food and drink, fitness, and also doctors, dentists, psychologists, and self-help. So it's the whole thing. And because it's been going on for such a long time, you have almost become used to life being completely unpredictable. Every so often, Uranus will overturn the stagecoach and you will find yourself wondering what happened. This always means that you have to get up and start again. And every time you do that with your health or your fitness, you find that you are more independent. Finding freedom from something or finding freedom through it is what this week is all about. So, for example, you may find freedom through weight jabs, or you might find freedom from a dentist that you no longer want to see, or a health insurance company that you don't need in your life anymore. Uranus is always about breaking with the past, and that's what you're doing between now and April when the cycle ends. There may be a couple more breaks with the past before you can say it's truly finished, but by then you will absolutely be free. Capricorn. Saturn in your family and household zone will teach you and train you and help you build something real and sensible in your life, and Capricorns are always sensible, but you have to put the time in. It may help to get as much advice as you can about the coping strategy that will work best for you with your relative or somebody at home. This cycle is about limitations and restrictions. There's no way around it. That is what Saturn does. And it takes a long time for you to get past those. Understanding that you are playing the long game with these people will really help you because you are ruled by Saturn, and therefore you understand that you have to be patient. Life is about being stoic. At the same time, you do have an alternative. You have a way out, maybe a complete way out, as you also have a Neptune cycle going on with a family and household. And Neptune is all about something that bears no relationship whatsoever to reality. So it's complicated, but you're figuring it out slowly but surely. This cycle is pretty new. It didn't really get going until February 15. So you are allowed to take your time as you work out your own approach. For example, you may get real with one relative and understand that it's going to take a long time for things to sort themselves out, but another family member or household member becomes your alternative. If you like, it's your Disneyland as opposed to your working life. Working things with your relative or a member of the household doesn't mean you have to do it all the time, but it does mean you have to fall back on your Capricorn qualities of patience and also staying power. Aquarius. Saturn in his new sign of Aries in your internet zone asks you to get real, and it asks you to wise up about the way things really are out there in the digital world. That's not an excuse to shy away from it, but it is a reason to start working at it. This is also a triple cycle. Saturn, Neptune and Chiron are all in Aries, all in your third house, which rules the web. And two of those cycles are there together until 2028. So it's a totally new ball game for you to play, Aquarius, and it may be because of AI, or it may be because of new rules coming in about social media, for example. We are going to see a huge shock in April when Uranus goes into Gemini with a bang, and Gemini does rule the web. So it looks as though you will be affected by that and maybe part of it too. There will be a complete break with the past from April, and by June, we will realise that the old web is long gone. So what happens this week is a pointer to that, and you may find things on your radar which alert you to that possibility. At the moment, if you have anything in Gemini in your birth chart as well, we could safely say that this year the internet will change your life, and you will also change the internet. What we're seeing in all departments of the web at the moment is an explosion in new inventions and new technology, and that really comes to the fore in April. But for you, you will need a three-pronged strategy, no matter if you treat the internet for fun or whether it's there as part of your work or your study. This week will show you ways to do this, as one part of you needs to be extremely patient, whereas another part of you just wants to escape from the real world. Pisces. The big achievement for you until 2028 will be the best budget that you can figure out, and an approach that will help to make up for what's been going on recently, as what you work so hard on now could become your life's work in terms of the numbers by the first quarter of 2028. What's happening is quite new. You have Saturn and Neptune and Chiron, all in Aries, all in your second house, which rules everything that you own, earn, or owe. It is very much about your income, but also your debt, possessions, shares, charity commitment, and so on. Understanding that the numbers are going to talk pretty loudly to you this week helps you understand that there is more to life than money. In fact, the numbers are talking to you about things that cannot be bought or sold. So this may be integrity, it may be personal relationships, or it may be something that you consider to be so precious it's totally priceless. Figuring this out quite literally will involve a lot of juggling of numbers on paper, but the really big decision will not come until April for you, Pisces, which is the month that you finally discover the calculation that's going to make sense to you. Until then, it may take a bit of getting used to. And it's important to remember that your values are not other people's values, that you have your own life budget, and only you can really figure it out, literally. At the moment, you are also being drawn towards something which is a total escape. It may, for example, be a low-interest loan that will get you off the hook with a debt or a bill that you have to pay. That's just one example, but you will have your own. If you have anything in Taurus in your birth chart, Pisces, then between now and April, the predictably unpredictable will continue to roll on, so be aware of that. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next week.